Soul, the most different song we have on this EP. It was a lot of firsts, a lot of stuff went into it, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. Let's break it down. First up, let's talk about the songwriting process, because Soul is a lot more melodic than anything that we've ever done before, and hopefully it's more melodic than anything we'll ever do after. It is a lot more upbeat feeling, it's a lot more live feeling, which I liked. It was a great transition from our last EP, which is a great EP, don't get me wrong, but in the melody section, it felt a little bit lacking. So this time around, Armand really made sure that we would have an emphasis on singing vocals for the first time, and Soul is like 70% singing. So the whole idea kind of came about Armand finding melodies online, changing things, down tuning things, chopping stuff together till he found something. He's like, yo, I wrote this dope instrumental. You're gonna track vocals over it and it's gonna be a hit. Great, that sounds awesome. Oh, it's all singing. Oh, nightmare mode. And it really was a nightmare. I'm still growing into my voice. I wouldn't say that I'm a super experienced singer yet. I've only been screaming since COVID. Like really, 2021 was the first year that I really considered doing screaming, fronting a band. And so I'm still learning and growing into my vocal range. But Armand heard me singing one time randomly and was like, we're gonna have a lot of that, so just get that ready. And I did, I tried my best. I'm still rehearsing, still learning, still growing into my voice, but it was a lot to take in at first. And so when he presented the idea of Soul being largely singing, I was a little bit hesitant, but we made it work. Writing it, again, Armand had the instrumental. We had a vocal melody already picked out and everything like that. So it was up to me to write lyrics. And I'll say this, for as much as I don't like Soul being performed live, it was so easy to write lyrics for Soul. Soul is very positive, we'll get into the lyrics later, but it feels a bit like Triumph 2.0, where it's kind of the same upbeat concept, just done in a much more refined package. And I like it. I think it's fun to listen to. Not fun to perform, but fun to listen to. Soul, I probably finished the lyrics in a week. They came super easily. Recording the demo was actually surprisingly easy for once. Without struggle, without violence. For once it came together easily, so I appreciated that.
Hey, my name is Armand. I'm from FloodGate. This song is pretty fun to write. I actually based it off of like two different things. I really wanted like a blend of R&B vocals with some kind of like anime intro theme song. So one of the main inspirations actually Crossing Fields by Lisa. You might know if you've watched Sword Art Online. I am not condoning that anime, nor am I saying it's good or bad. No comment. We actually wrote that breakdown by Wyatt just messing around with the whammy pedal while I played guitar. And we just took the coolest sounds and threw them over the breakdown. I think it turned out pretty well. You guys let me know what you think though.
Exactly. Lyrically, the song is very upbeat. Again, it feels like Triumph 2.0. It's a bit more lovey-dovey, but that's because Armand was like, make another positive song. I have a happy melody, and it would suck if you wrote another song about wanting to kill yourself over top of the happy melody. So I didn't. We went away and I decided to make a love song. At that point, I was kind of in a better place to write this time around. And we were still working on Soul. And I decided to write Soul hypothetically about the concept of kind of falling back in love with living again. That's kind of the main crux of the song is I'm falling back in love with living again. Life doesn't feel as tragic or as hard as it did back in 2022 when we wrote the first EP. This time around, it was like, yo, this is really nice. That's when I wrote the lyric, I'm alive, it feels like the first time. The first part of the song is heavy. It's screaming. There's a rhythm that's dun dun dun. Dun dun dun. And as soon as I heard that part, I was like, okay, we're gonna have a heavy part there about the darkness, and then we're just gonna go into the lightness because there isn't a lot of screaming elsewhere. And so to start it off, it goes, all I knew were shadows, and the light fell dim before my heart recalled its place, and I inhaled again. And then I made it out, I'm alive, the world breathes its melodies, which is probably I don't know, call it cliche, call it corny. I like it. I think it sounds really good recorded. So it stayed. I like that part. Every mark and every scar earned on a journey to be free. And that was kind of a callback to the line in Monument with every word and every line. I just like the cadence of that, so I decided to reuse it again. And the chorus, it starts off pretty strong with, I can't forget where I've been and the joy of what's coming next. Fall back in love with living again. Reach out your hands and we'll do it again. It's kind of like, hey, come with me, I'll show you. You know, like life doesn't always have to be so difficult in art. And that's how it felt when we were recording and writing the song. Life was looking up. Didn't really matter what came before or what came after. It was that pocket of time was very positive, and I liked it a lot. I wrote the chorus, really fun. Basically, the whole thing is just soul, you know, feeling alive. It's like me extending an invitation to you and being like, hey, what's the deal? Life doesn't always have to be so cold. The ending lyric is have you no soul, which is basically, it feels a little bit like a romantic struggle. You know, like one person is kind of reaching out and the other person's pulling away. And that's kind of how it feels sometimes. And so that's why there's still kind of an undercurrent of darkness there. But other than that, pretty positive song. Very catchy, great melody. Shout out to Armand for that. I didn't write that. Very fun to sing when I'm I'm at my house alone. Performing it live is a bit of a struggle, but we'll get through it. Speaking of getting through it, let's talk about the recording for this one, because this one, good fun times recording.
When we went into the studio, I was so happy when Jordan looked at me and said, I have almost no changes. Because like every other song had like at least one big change. The only change we actually made during pre-pro was switching the second and third chorus, because apparently it's crazy town to have the lead weird sounding chorus as the second chorus and not the final. I mean, it does make it sound better. Fuck you. Fun fact, we actually kept the working title for this song because we kind of felt it fit the lyrics better, and it just has that ring to it, you know? I love one-word song titles because they're much more catchy, except for rare cases like Forget the Gasoline, Just Use Vodka. Or If He Dies, He Dies, Love Blacks Club. The working title, I came up with it because I'd been listening to a lot of R&B and I knew the melody was gonna be very soulful. But
recording and production for Soul. Again, big props to our producers, Jordan Chase and Colt Douglas. Jordan made tracking vocals so easy, and this, I think, was the last song that we tracked. And we did it in chunks. We did the screaming sections first. So there's still screaming in the song, it's layered in there. You've heard it by now, it's in there. The main problem was the singing, and with this being the last song we tracked, I was nervous. The whole time the record was being produced, I was practicing non-stop because I wanted to get through this song as quickly as possible and just get it done. I was stressing a little bit. We went to the studio, tracked all his stuff really quickly. So he was out of there, so he was just, you know, lounging around doing what drummers do. I'm a drummer, I can say that. Lazy people. He was done, guitars were done, bass was done, vocals were done last. So I was practicing, I was stressing out the song to get it done and get it down as quickly as possible. And so we tracked vocals sometimes very early in the morning, sometimes very late at night. We do it in different sections. So we did some of the screaming sections for a bunch of songs all on the same night. So we do the intro for Soul, which has screaming, and then we'll do, you know, bits and bobs of other parts on the record. There was never really a day where it's like, this is Soul Day, we're just gonna do the whole song, because it takes a lot to do both screaming and singing vocals in the same day. I'm not a classically trained singer, so whenever Armand's like, do you think a C would fit here? I give him this look because I'm a drummer and I really don't care. And I don't know. And so Jordan was never like, no, you have to hit this note and then this note, obviously. He was more like, oh, I see where you're going with the melody here. Sing this part like this, and then do this like this, and then it'll sound perfect, and I can fix little mistakes in the computer. And that was very helpful because, again, a little bit intimidating to go into the studio making your first in-studio record on time that you paid for when all of your other bandmates are done and they're just waiting for you. It's like, oh, I really gotta step up to the plate here. So Jordan made me feel very at home in this studio, and especially in the vocal booth, which I appreciated a lot. Other than that, really the production went pretty smoothly. There's no guest vocalists on this song. It's all me and Armand. Armand's in one section. He's layered over top of me. We recorded the song. It was surprisingly easy for the singing. Performing it live is a bit of a stretch sometimes, but you know, we try to get through it, and we're growing still. So if you've come out to a show and you've heard it live and you're like, that doesn't sound exactly like it does on the record, that's because there's been like 5 songs of screaming before that, man. Like, I don't know what you want. It's a really fun song. I really like it. I like the fact that Armand went more melodic with this record. It feels a lot more cohesive and coherent, and it's wrapped up in a package that's more digestible. So I appreciate that a lot.
We're actually filming a music video for this. We're basically just ripping off Paramore's Ain't It Fun music video, where they break a bunch of world records. And I thought that would be a lot of fun for us to do. So we're doing it. Get good. If you're into watching dudes run in wet t-shirts, check it out. It's gonna be great. If you guys liked what I talked about, and definitely if you want to see me wearing a wet t-shirt, or even Jude, check out the music video. We'll have it linked in the description below. And yeah, enjoy.
That brings us to the end of Soul. So thank you so much for watching these videos. It's really cool to talk about the music and the art that I'm creating with my friends and people appreciating it. So if you liked it, make sure you hit the like button. Please subscribe to our channel. Watch our Monument music video. Watch all of our videos. Go back through all of them. Rewatch everything, especially the behind the scenes video. That one's the best video on this channel. It will always be. It's super funny. Yeah, love you. Bye.